right. One of the things that came up in our reading this week was quotation marks. Okay, so quotation marks are those little marks that almost hug. A lot of people go like this when someone is saying something, quotation marks, and they kind of hug or wrap around in the beginning and the end of when someone says something. So here's a set of quotation marks. They almost look like a comma, and they are up here at the top rather than sitting on the line. And they usually travel in pairs. Okay, so you would use quotation marks when you want to show what someone is saying, their exact words. So let's see. The boy said, let's see here, keep running. Okay, so how would we put our punctuation in here? Well, the boy said, okay, and this is what he said. So we would need to put the quotation marks here around what he said. Keep running. Now, it sounds like he might be excited. We could use a period, or we could use an exclamation point. Okay, we'll put a period in there, and the quotation marks go after that period. I start my quotation marks with a capital letter, and then this is the other little thing. We need a comma. It makes our voice pause so that when we read it through, the boy said, keep running. All right? So that would be one place we could use quotation marks. You can also use quotation marks. It might come in the beginning of the sentence. So we could say, keep running. The boy said. All right, so this might be your sentence. And keep running, that is what he said. We would put our quotation marks around there. We put a comma right in here because this is what he's saying, and we want that pause to be right there. The boy said, and we always, of course, need a period at the end of our sentence. I started, of course, with a capital letter. Keep running, the boy said. All right, so there's several ways you can have somebody say a question. What was that? He asked. All right, so how would we put our quotation marks in here? What was that? Oh, that's what he said. All right, or in this case, asked. So we put a question mark there. We put our quotation marks around it. We don't need a comma because that question mark is going to be that little bit of a pause for our voice. We don't capitalize T. It's part of that same sentence. And at the end, period. What was that? He asked. Or we could say, he asked, what was that? Okay, so how would we punctuate this? Of course, starting with a capital letter to start our sentence. He asked, our comma, because we have to pause. This is what he said. This, I'm going to make a little taller because we're starting with a capital letter in that quotation. What was that? Question mark. And our quotation marks hugging everything that was said. All right, so hopefully that makes quotation marks and where we put them and how do we punctuate a sentence a little bit more clear.